Welcome, everyone. Uh, Welcome to this special edition of ProBar Fireside Chats. I'm your host, Muideen Akon. I'm a product manager at Free, and I'm also like a proud moderator at ProBar itself. ProBar is a community for product managers, product leaders, and also aspiring PMs, right? Today we dive into diving deep into the art and science of product leadership. We are diving deep into product leadership and what this truly means. How do you navigate the challenges that comes with being a product leader? And more importantly, how do you drive impact, right? I'm thrilled to be joined today by Blessing Felix. She's an incredible product leader that has like world of I think she has been in this space for around 6-7 years now. That's like a lot in product management, and she has taken lead roles from being like a every other person, starting like a product manager, and moved to being a senior product manager and currently leading the product team. You guys use your clapping emoji to help me welcome Felix to today's fireside chat. Can I see the clapping emoji?
I'm used to this gathering. We've been having quite a few lectures here and there, and I think William has introduced me the best possible way I would have introduced myself. Right, we are all products, managers here, and some of you would aspire to be a product leader, right? So today our topic is going to be on leadership skills every PM should have. We're getting this whole training on, what typically a PM would do on a day-to-day basis, but there's also that leadership angle, because you would often hear people refer to as PMs as the CEO of a product, quote unquote, right? And for you to be the CEO of a product, you have to lead like you are a CEO, right? So that's basically what we'll be talking about. So how do you want us to start off, Muideen?
We can do your way. Coco here is that every of our joiners take something on, right? Basically, and like you said, the CEO parts of being a product manager. This time around, you are doing the CEO job, not really CEO, but at least managing like a lot of people in product itself, and doing growth, and also adding the impact there. Basically, that's like one of the major things. Basically,
definitely.
We can just start this way. You can start by like letting us know what's that role like. What are like the qualities?
Of course, yeah. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. So there are quite a number of leadership skills that you should have as a product manager. But one of the first things I would like to talk about is, influence without authority. Now, because you are working with engineers, like so it depends on the formation of your team. Say you have front end, back end, your designers, your data guys, like you have a bunch of people that you are probably telling them what to do, right? You don't want to come across as Oga. Do you get what I mean? You want to come, you're the one actually saying, okay, this is how we want the requirement to go, right? But you want to make influence as opposed to, like one kind of somebody that's trying to boss over them, right? You want to be able to persuade your engineers, your designer or executive without any direct form of control, right? You want to build trust in your team. You want a situation where, so there was a time that I had an interview with one fintech company back in the days that I wanted to work with, right? And the CEO at the time, she was just asking me, okay, so how do you manage engineers generally? I told her that I simply try to make them my friends, because it feels, if those people are your friends, right, it's very easy for you to just be like, oh, guy, just let me check that thing. You might even be talking to this person at 7 p.m. out of office hour, and they will literally do it for you, right? But when you come across as, I don't even know the word to use, they would literally tell you that it's close of business, and I will look at it the next day when working hours start. So that's one very important thing that, trust me, you want to be conscious of. Muhyiddin, do you have any take on this?
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you with that. I
Yeah.
mean, one of those things that works for me also, like, it's being friends with my engineer. I mean, every person I work with, right? You are the guy that they just like, you just have to find a way to understand people's differences and work with them, right? And this will help you with the end goal, which is like building, a good product out there, something that satisfies the customer. And I mean, this is even like the early stage of like building it. I mean, what happens if there is a bug and you're reaching out to somebody and the person is saying it's outside of our. If you don't have a relationship, that thing is not going to happen, right? And I mean, it's a shit on your product, right? And you get to get the thing. So you need to find a way to. I mean, I also would like to like put something out. It is not that we are encouraging you to always find a way to make your engineers work outside work hour. But there are some that you just need to understand that. I mean, you just need to happen. Those extra. I mean, if you have I mean, that's what product pillars will do. Like, lesson, anyways, find a way to make sure they are compensated for extra work that they do, right? I mean, these are also like ways that you can make sure that people get job done. If they know that, I mean, every extra thing that I do, I'm getting paid for it, kind of thing. Yeah.
So there's another part that has to do with customer obsession, right, and empathy. Ultimately, when you're building a digital product, you're not building it to keep in your cabinet. You're not building it for your own personal use, right? I know during one of our classes, right, we talked about users need, pain points, building personas, and the likes rather. So this is where it comes in handy, right? You need to, at every point in time, for every feature, for every optimization, right? You need to think about your customers. You need to think about their pain points. You need to prioritize their needs, right? And that way you can basically just champion, customer advocacy within your organization, right? And that way it will also help you make, critical product decisions that create real-time value. If you put your customer at the forefront of everything, right, you'll be thinking about it. Okay, how do my customer log into this app? First of all, you've categorized your customers. Are you building for people with disabilities? So imagine you building for people with disabilities, right? Because I know there are apps for people with disabilities. I've seen a blind man use a technology like really good. All he needs to do is speak to his phone, right? And his phone will literally carry out that command. He literally order things off Amazon just by speaking to his phone. So, and again, because you've targeted, right, that particular guy with this particular persona, and you've built for him, you've built around his needs, you've built around his abilities or his disabilities, you've built around his pain points, right? He can't see, right? That's a huge pain point there. How are you going to deliver value to this person? So these are like very core things. And I think I've given an example as well in class when I was talking about, so I worked on a loan management solution at some point, right? The people we're targeting initially were like, the employed guys, the people that had, this good enough credit profile that can pay us back, all of this good stuff. And then at some point, the model changed. We wanted market women now. We felt like those people, they're in constant need of this money because of the kind of business they run, right? So we wanted those people on board on our solution. Now, the thing is, the solution we've built, they not really cater for those ones. We don't, they don't have, most of them, when we did a random survey, like I was saying in class, they had like feature phones. Our application will not work there. Now, in the looking at it from the perspective of understanding users' needs and pain points, right? Now we had to come down to their level. We had to incorporate USSD, right? So these are things that, if you think about your customer, you think about a solution that will work for them. Now, these people, from the comfort of their small shop, their kiosk, whatever it is that they sell from, they can literally just dial that code star, boom, 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 hash, send, and they have access to us. They have access to, credits. They have access to borrowing money from us, right? And they can see everything broken down for them by USSD. So these are things that I feel like, as a PM, you cannot sweep it under the carpet. It's number one. It comes first, right? That brings the money later on. Do you have any experience from building solutions that you have to prioritize your customer, put them at the front line? You have any experience?
Is there any product right now that you don't put customers at the front line? I doubt. Maybe I've not built that. I mean, today, over the years, I've actually been building products that customer is the first thing. Yeah, we just like coin it into business goals. But it's customer that is going to use that product at the end of the day. And it's what they request for. Sometimes it's not really a request. It's what we get from our metrics that we are going to build for them, right? Like what you said, USSD for SMEs, the market women. And imagine like I have my goods right in front of me, maybe like I already collected it from the manufacturer and I have to just pay for that produce so that I can have them in and I just need to direct code. That's the fastest way of getting any credit anywhere, right? You have to use your app. You probably do like 5 press or 6 press or something. 6 buttons. USSD, my credit score is already there and stuff like that. Before you know it, I've been credited, then I can now pay this debt. The fact that I have that, I know that will work whenever I need it. It's going to make me loyal to your product anyways. And before you know it, keep having people coming back to use that product. That's like kind of someone.
Yeah.
I've actually not found myself like using any lending app. What I've done is do collections, right? And one of those important things for us when we're doing collection is for you to be full with us. We sort of want to change the idea of what collection used to be, where people use aggression to collect money from people. And what we do is, first off, educate you, right? Our welcome message is very educating. We are letting you know that to owe is not a problem, right? But having the idea not to pay back is what the problem is, right? And with us, you can just do only 1 million. It's not a problem. What can you afford today? Just pay that thing, and we can go back and have a discussion with the lender and say, hey, this guy wants to pay, but this is the situation right now, and this is what he can afford, and later on he's going to be doing this over time and over time, right? People owe and want to go and commit suicide, right? All those stuff what we were thinking about. Even we are very, business is going to make money on the collection that we make. We are taking percentage of it, right? But still put the customer first, which is that making sure that they are in the right state of mind. Because if that guy dies, we are not even going to make any money from it anyways. Or if that guy become stone-hearted, we are still not going to make money anyways. But if you make them understand that, you can pay this bit by bit, right?
Yeah.
And bit from customer A, B, C, D makes 1 million, and percentage comes from it basically.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, so another thing we need to also look at is communication and stakeholder management. Because as a product manager, trust me, you're working.
That's where the pressure comes from.
Honestly, you're working like different. You're like a bridge that connects different guys, right? There is your CEO, there is your engineering team, there's your business team, there's the finance team. There's quite a number of people. There's even your customer, right? There's a customer support unit. So you need to know how to communicate to these different guys. So I'll just use a very simple example. Let's use a family unit, for example. Say you are the middle child. You have a senior, you have a junior, your parents, mom and dad. The way you speak to your your senior sibling is different from the way you speak to your dad, for example, right? And it's also different from the way you speak to the younger one, right? It is just emotional intelligence that comes in play, right, when you're communicating, right? Because there's sometimes, and I know we talked about during my last class, we talked about prioritization, right, where we went through the 2x2 prioritization metrics, Moscow framework, and whatnot, right? Now your CEO can be telling you that there's this thing you need to work on now.
Now,
They will put pressure on you to the point that you yourself you want to resign, right? So your CEO wants something now. Then the customer success team, you're saying, see, the customer want this now.
Yeah.
Right. And then remember you have your backlog, right? You have your backlog, you have list of things, you have your roadmap that you're trying to follow, right? I have another class that speak on roadmap and all of those things, but you have a roadmap, you have a journey that you want to follow. Now, how do you communicate to these different guys? You need to know who to keep informed, right? You need to know who to you literally need to just be emotionally intelligent. I think that's the word for this point that I'm trying to drive home, right? Ultimately, you need to keep all parties informed, because I think what really get people pissed is the fact that they're not getting the updates. Even if you can't do it at the time, right? Just ensure that you keep them updated. Ensure that this cross-functional team, for those of you that don't understand the word cross-functional, it just means the different units that makes up the whole agenda. Right? So we're trying to build a product now. There are different units you have to work with, right? That will ensure that that product is live. So that's basically what it means, right? And you also have to manage expectations, because now your see, what example can I even use self? Okay.
Marketing and the CEO. I don't know why. Like, it's always enough headache for marketing. I don't like it.
Yes, business guys.
Yeah.
Generally, those units, they can make you run away from your job. I'm not joking. So now the thing is, your CEO or the marketing guys, for example, they come and they're like, oh, we have the normal, let's say you're building a product, right? You have the normal login with your username and password, right? But they're saying that, oh, let us use a different, like maybe facial recognition. And let's say, for example, you've gauged it against the timeline, right? You've spoken to the guys that are going to implement, and they're saying that, okay, for us to actually do the facial recognition, we'll need like additional 2 days. Now, to you, you think 2 days is just, oh, it's 2 days now. Trust me, it's not just 2 days. The business will come to you and be like, that's 2 days, we're losing money. That's 2 days. There's a lot going on. So you need to know how to manage expectations with leadership, with customers, with your cross-functional team. You need to know how to be transparent, right? And be proactive with your updates and feedbacks, right? So these are things that generally we should do as product manager, skills we should have.
I
Yeah.
usually just describe this as like you are a DJ at a party, right? I mean, you are mixing different requests into one smooth experience, right? I mean, you're in somebody is saying, play me a pala, and somebody is shouting, oh no, I'm an Ashake fan, and somebody is saying, maybe you even have a Muslim in Ramadan, and somebody is telling you that, oh no, it's Muslim, play me Quran. You know all those things, right? You just have to like find a way to like to handle conflicting priorities from stakeholders. All of these guys are stakeholders, and you need to ensure that there is an alignment, right? And like what you said, communication is just key, right?
Yeah.
To be aligned, you need to communicate, right? For you to like be able to handle them, you also need to communicate. That's the only thing. Anyways, that's like only, a weapon that you need to know how to use and to be able to like handle this. This priorities basically.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
Yeah. So the next point I'll talk about is team empowerment and collaboration. And because I know we've spoken a lot about collaboration in some of these our classes and that we've been having so far. So I'm just going to throw it to the house, right? Does anyone want to just tell me what they think about collaboration as it relates to product management? So when you hear collaboration, what comes to your mind as it relates to products? Anybody?
I mean,
It's
people, people are probably afraid because this is like probably a recorded version.
Oh, no, you guys, but all of our classes are recorded now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, so this is just one of it. Just see it as so collaboration. Okay, remove the product management from it. Just collaboration. What comes to your mind? I think that we should take it, we should be very simple. That should be very simple rather. So should I call names? I'm seeing a lot of people here. Okay, someone hands. Oh yeah, go on, John.
Good afternoon. When it comes to the aspect of collaboration, I would say that it is each team member assisting the other to achieve a particular goal. So, for example, I have someone in the design space, an engineer, and a QO person. So everybody's not just acting independently. So we can bring ideas to help the designer work perfectly better or make our work seamless. We can help the design, let's say the QA person make his or our work seamless. So everybody just is like an interplay between each department. Although we still have our individual role, but sometimes we just still play into other people's functions so that we can take the burden of each team member. That's my own contribution. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Omo.
I would say collaboration in product management. This is the process of people working together. You made mention of cross-functional teams. Okay, them coming together. These cross-functional teams are the stakeholders. These are the customers. They are the engineers in different departments. Everybody coming together to deliver to develop and deliver a product that meets the market customers' expectations or needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Omo. Do we have any contributor? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. No. All right. So definitely that makes sense. Thank you, John. Thank you, Omo, for that. Basically, collaboration, it is what it is, as just like we've all said, right? So we need to just foster a culture of ownership and innovation within the team, right? You want people to own whatever it is that they have to deliver on, right? Because it's different, when you own something and when you rent something, the way you look at it is different, right? The one you own feels like, oh, it's mine. I should actually take care of it better.
Yeah.
But the one you rent, you feel like, okay, it's not mine. I'm going to give it back anyways, right? So the way you handle it is a bit different. So if we foster that culture of ownership and innovation, right, it kind of improves collaboration. Now, there's that part of conflict, right? Trust me, when you are working with people, people are one of the most difficult things to manage, actually, people, right? Because people have different perspective, they have different views, right? So there's no how you know, except you're working with angels, or if you're working with humans, once in a while someone will spark, right? Or someone would have issue, maybe QA will have issues with engineer, like, oh, I tested this, it was working, I passed it, you deploy to production, now everything seems to be breaking, and you're saying like it seems like QA they didn't do their job. They'll start pointing fingers everywhere. They might even point fingers to you as a product manager. They'll say,
Of
maybe
course.
you didn't
I
plan.
mean, even him is going to blame you anyways.
Yeah, so it comes back to you. I feel like so when there are conflicts in an organization or in a team, right, it reduces collaboration, right? And as a PM, as much as it can be, you'll be like, why are two adults? Why am I coming in between two adults, right? But you have to try as much as possible to resolve conflict, because that way the team would move faster if there's no conflict blocking the road. And if there are any roadblock, that's why we normally have daily stand-up, right? Where you talk about what you what you worked on the previous day, what you're going to be working on today, and if you have any roadblocks, is meant to be addressed on that stand-up. So if you're able to like remove, right, and help, conflict, roadblocks, and the likes, is literally going to help in improving your collaboration, your team collaboration, and empowerment. And then there's just another part of, you need to celebrate wins and recognize contribution, right? No matter how small it is, right? How insignificant it is, you need to be able to celebrate it, such that when people, maybe for example, they worked overtime, right? Now, some organizations are gracious, they will pay for it, right? But most organizations, they would really not pay for it, right? So you as the PM, you know what your people are doing behind the scene to actually meet up with that particular deadline that they have to deliver on, right? Try as much as possible to celebrate the wins, that give kudos. You could actually just celebrate somebody on stand up, right? All those things, it makes their head swell up, and it just make them feel like, okay, they're seen, right? Somebody is seeing the efforts that you're putting in, and somebody is appreciating it. And then as much as possible, recognize contribution. You can, when you're having your catch-ups with maybe your line manager, it depends on who you report to, right? So you just basically just chip in that, oh, XYZ, I think this person should actually be recognized. And if you guys do like award nights and stuff like that, right, that would go a long way. The person feels seen, the person feel heard, and the person would want to put in more, right? And that fosters collaboration as a whole. So yeah, that's what I have to add or say about collaboration. What you think?
Yeah.
That
I
thing.
mean, like what you said, one of the key things is recognition, right? Somebody has been doing a lot. Somebody has night up because it was trying to fix something and trying to meet them. And I mean, the least you can do is to celebrate that person, right? And say, yeah, we see what you do. And then what next, right? To show them what growth opportunities, like, you support your team in leveling up. I mean, when you see, you do show them like skill development program where they can like be better, and you can always like speak about them in, room that they are not there. Maybe somebody's probably and one of those things that, for over time, what I've learned over time, and people that I've worked with, and also like the model also work for me, is I prefer looking within the team to take a new role, right, than bringing somebody new, right? And what this says is that that person already understands where we are coming from, what we are trying to achieve, right? As against somebody that comes into the team and is going to learn for the next 3 months. And the way startup works, 3 months is a lot of time, right? It's a lot of time, and we don't have it, right? I probably recruit an intern than to recruit a senior person when I can bring somebody that can, that can be that can take that role. Just do maybe one of like skill development programs, and stretch them with assignments. Have them go through mentorship, and before you know it, they are getting there, right? One of those things that you said, and that is very, very key, is clear ownership, right? This makes them to be responsible for the outcomes of whatever happens, right? You know that if anything goes wrong on this thing that has been assigned to you, then you are the one who is going to speak up for it, right? Because of that, you are in and everywhere to make sure that thing is good. So that when you ask, about what you are doing, you are able to give proper accountability, right? Proper reports, and it makes you proactive, basically. And it's also like, when you help them with stuff like this and you provide feedback, it helps them, it boosts their morale, right? And it's also sort of like help them be better, right? You have like a way that you are saying this thing is for you, right? You are the lead on this thing, right?
Yeah.
You are the one I'm going to be speaking to when it comes to this thing. All right.
Yeah.
And when there's something, the guy is quick to come and tell you that, oh, this is where we are, this is what we are facing. You set up like a call, set up like a time to always like review and give them feedback. Right.
Yeah.
And that feedback, I mean, when you go to bigger meetings, you give them their recognition, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's help them. It's like a big win for I mean, people usually say that somehow product managers are also like therapists, right? you are the guy that listens to everybody. You
Yeah.
know we see, you know who has family issues, you know, I mean all those things you just need to like, I mean, like what we said earlier, part of empowering your team, I mean, empowerment just means that you trust them, right?
That's right.
And it also means that you are going to like support them, right? So it's also like knowing what is going on with them. This will also help you when you have like two people doing a certain thing. You know that this guy is done right now, maybe he's facing a divorce.
Yeah.
You don't want to go and assign him something super crazy, right? The guy will you as a person and he helps the team in general. And at the end of the day, you guys will drive to and also like exceed your expectations. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Spot on. So another leadership skills we're just going to look into is adaptability and resilience. And what this simply speaks to is you need to. So sometimes when you're working on a feature, it might fail, right? You might have very high hopes that this is a cash cow for the company, right? You've worked on it, you've deployed, you've put in production, and you just be wowed as to how your
Hey.
users don't care about, about whatever you push. They don't give a hoot, right, about it. You need to learn how to pivot quickly, right, and prioritize your shifts, right? So in a situation where you've pushed something to production, your users are aware, they've probably interacted with it, but then you're looking at the numbers, you're looking at the metrics, it's not matching up to what your team were so super excited about, right? You need to learn how to handle failure with a growth mindset. Like, trust me, this thing I'm saying to you, I've learned the hard way. So you need to learn how to handle failure. Like when you push something to production and it's not working as expected, please don't think you failed. Don't think you failed. No, you've not.
Sometimes they don't even notice it.
Exactly.
Have you gotten? Yeah, I mean, you built it and you feel like, oh, more people are waiting for this, right?
Yeah, people are
And
waiting.
you
The
deploy,
market is
you don't even notice that nothing is there.
Yeah,
You're skipping it.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah, and then also you need to be able to stay calm under pressure, right? And especially through uncertainty, because trust me, as a PM, there's going to be pleasurable moments. So the other day, I was reviewing the roadmap the business team had made for Q1. Trust me, it was a lot, right? The things that the engineering unit is meant to like deliver on for Q1 was a lot. Like everyone was under pressure, not just me. Now, the people that were meant to deliver it, right? They had very strict, very tight timelines, right? The only thing you can learn to do within, in situations like that is to be calm as a PM. Because if you're under pressure, trust me, the rest of the team, they are sinking.
he's under pressure.
The rest of the team, that's the guys that are meant to implement it, they are sinking. So you need to find ways to compromise. Can you go back to the business team, try to explain to them, try to be as transparent as possible? Most times the pressure is it's not like the business team want to give you that tight timeline. It's probably coming from above, right? So when it comes down that way, just try to see how you can compromise. Oh, instead of 2 weeks, can we do 2.5? Is it possible? Right? Just try as much as possible to see if you can buy time for your guys. And also just ensure that your guys are committed to it, right? You need to break down deliverables. Okay, it's going to take us 2 weeks, but what exactly are we going to be doing for that 2 weeks? Who is starting first? How many days is it going to take front end? How many days is it taking back end? Like stuff like that. There's that thing called story points that you can assign to each of the tasks that these guys are meant to work on. So I mean, it's super important that we have this at the back of our mind, because sometimes things will go south. It won't go the way that we want it to go. So I'll give an example. There was a time that we had 2 weeks to work on a particular two different implementation. One was on the mobile app, one was on the website. Now, for what we had to do, right, for the scope of the task, that 2 weeks was a bit dicey, right? Well, because we have gotten very clear and firm instructions from the CEO directly that this has to be done. So the guys were like, working back weekends, would have calls on Sundays, all of that, just to meet up with that 2 weeks timeline. Now, 2 weeks came, everything we pushed to production at, on that exact day, we pushed to production. On a Monday, to our surprise, the failure kicked in. We started getting a lot of, you guys did rubbish. You guys pushed something to production that is not working. It was a lot. So now you are a PM in such scenario, right? Where it feels like you've done nonsense, where it feels like your guys don't know what they are doing, right? That's where, this failure, you need to be able to handle failure with a growth mindset. So what do I mean by growth mindset? Okay, even if it seemed like we failed, how can we fix it? That's the next thing you need to start asking yourself. How can we go back? Okay, what exactly has failed? Let's look at what the guys are reporting as bugs. Let's populate it. Let's throw in a bug fix, right? Let's fix these bugs. How long is it going to take us? This is already on production. It means that it has to be prioritized ASAP.
On deck.
Yeah. So these are things that we need to. It might come to you as a blow, right? Initially, but trust me, please, as a PM, don't take anything personal. Don't take anything personal. What do you have you experienced it?
I mean, if you embrace, a growth mindset, you know that, it's an opportunity rather than
Yeah.
a disruption, right? You have learned that thing, right? What next is that because you are a PM, you learn to avoid that way forward, right?
Exactly.
Those kind of happenings helps you to become a better PM. Meaning, next time you add it to your checklist or add it to what you want to be checking before you go to life, right? And if you have built a team that's, built a resilient team that they understand the concept of testing, iterating, pivoting, and all these things will not actually be a shock to them. It will look like a business as usual, because for every other time, it is that, you guys are always preparing for the uncertainty, right? It is that, let's push this to prod, let's see how it works. We are probably building on top of it, or we are most likely changing it, right? Or they understand this, right? Like what you said, I like what you said about like transparent communication.
Yeah.
This is very important.
Yeah.
You cannot have shits going on and you're not communicating to your stakeholders. And also when you are communicating, you also need to be sure that you know what is happening, right? So that when you are going back to them and tell them that, oh, this is what is happening, you're also saying this is what we are doing to reduce this, right? Or to fix it, or to get better at it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You said it all, honestly, right?
Very important. Very important. So another thing we need to look at is decision making, right? Because
that's why you are the lead.
so as a product manager, right, there are a lot of decisions that you need to make, right? There are a lot of on the spot kind of decision that you need to make on certain issues, right? Oh, okay, so should the user click on X or should the user click on Y, right? Certain times you have to use your discretion, right? You need to like imagine. That's why you need to understand the act of user journey, customer journey. I know I talked about this during my last class, right? You need to understand that act of critical thinking, right? So typically, what should the flow be, right? Based off on that, make that decision. If it's something that, okay, you need your business to sign off on, then quickly send an email. Dear Aisha, if that's your business head or whatever, right? Send that person an email or a phone call or anything that will just ensure that that decision is made at that particular point in time. And another very important thing is you need to make data-driven decision, right? And customer-centric decision. The first thing I talked about was, customer-related type of decision where you are making a decision based off on the fact that you've put yourself in the shoes of that customer and you've made that decision. If I were to be this customer, would this be an easier route for me or would the other way be an easier route? And then now, another thing is to look into your data. So from previous experience, right, based off on the people that use this particular product, how has it gone, right? What do we need to consider? What do we need to look into? If you need to sit down with your data team to make that decision, then fine, right? And another thing on that decision making is you need to prioritize. Trust me, that the product manager, I see it as you are in a court with so many balls, just you're juggling so many balls is going on. So the ball that you need to juggle at that particular point in time, you can't just juggle a random ball, right? You need to be sure that whatever you're prioritizing is in line with the business goal. That is where, because trust me, it will backfire if you don't prioritize what you're not supposed to prioritize, and then maybe you're having a catch up. Your CEO, they're probably having strategy meeting or a catch up or a board meeting or something, and they're wondering, okay, this is what we're supposed to be looking at, but it seems like this is at the back burner and something else is in the front burner. You have a lot of explaining to do. So just ensure that whatever you're prioritizing at that particular time, right, is in line with your business goal, the business agenda, what the business wants to achieve at that particular point in time, right? And for managing of risk, there's going to be a lot of risk. The one you can manage it as much as possible. The one you can't manage, go and pray to your God to help you.
I mean, you can always leverage on your team expertise, right? I mean, in as much as you are the decision maker or
Exactly.
the guys that, I mean, sort of like bring the decisions to the
Yeah.
table, you still like it doesn't have to be in isolation, right? You can always like speak with your engineers, your designers, even the stakeholders, even this very CEO that said he wants that thing. You can always like get diverse perspective from these guys and I mean make more informed decisions, right? And when it comes to priority, I mean, good thing about product managers, the product management is that there's like a lot of framework out there that you can use to like know decisions. I mean, now you have all of those things. Now you know what you want to do, but which one do you want to build first, right? You need to know the one that drive most value. I mean, and yeah, risks is super. I mean, super low, right? I mean, you said it all. It has to come from data first, right? Whatever decision you want to start from, it has to like you need to look into data for insights, right? It's guides you about if you rely on key metrics, it's going to help you know what the feedback is like from users and know. I mean, it will also like guide you to what you want to take to the market, and I mean, get best information for all these things basically. And yeah, you always like if you make a decision and one thing is not making it go as planned, you can always go back to iterate it. Make sometimes just make an adjustment. Maybe you're actually building the right thing, but you're just building it the wrong way. The feedback helps to know where you want to make adjustments. You measure the impact and you go again, over and over again, and before you know it, you're moving up there.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Right. So the final point I'll talk about before we, open it up for question and answer would be, strategic thinking, right? Because as a product manager, trust me, there are a lot of documentation that you would have to write. I know the last meeting I talked about your PRD and some other documentation that you have to put together. Now, in putting those documentation together, you're not just going to go and put random words or random numbers or whatever. So you need to think through processes, right? Right. For it depends on the field that you're operating in. I think I gave an example of building like a mobile app solution for a restaurant business. So you need to think through the process. So ideally, what would happen? So I think we itemize, okay, customer ordering, there is that part of menu selection, there is that part of quantity, like, okay, do I want one, do I want two, do I want five? There's that part of payment processes as well. There's a part of the delivery. So each of these subsets, these processes rather, right, you need to think through it. How do you want, what kind of experience do you want to give to your customer? So if you don't understand strategic thinking, and again, strategic thinking comes from the fact that you're putting yourself in data and you're immersing yourself in the customer, like you're trying to build a customer-centric process, right? That way you are able to build a clear product strategy documents, right? You're able to also communicate, because if you are able to document it, you'll be able to speak about it, because now you're speaking about something that you've written, right? So you're able to define it and you're able to communicate a very clear product vision. Now, when you do that, the next thing is for you to align with your team, because you don't just want to have a fancy document sitting around blah blah blah. No, people are going to implement and work on that particular document or the vision that you have for the product. Now you have to align with your team around long-term goals. Let them understand everything that is on that document. Now, the fact that you have a very robust product vision, it doesn't mean that you're going to implement everything on that product vision. And that's where prioritization comes in, right? You need to be able to balance your short-term execution with your long-term execution, your long-term innovation, basically. So you need to say, okay, for the first quarter, what are we looking at, right? If you want to build a full machinery, where do we start from? Right? Do we start from the core engine, or do we start from the spare parts? Or where exactly do we want to tackle this, big problem from? Right? So these are things that you need to be able to do. You see, product vision, very important. Product strategic thinking, able to communicate long-term and short-term value and innovation to your team, very key as a product leader or as a product manager. So yeah, I don't know, Muhyiddin, do you have any add-on?
Like you said it all. I mean, strategic thinking sometimes is not about like coming up with big ideas and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
It is about like making decisions today that will, impact the product success tomorrow, right? Tomorrow can be next week, can be next year, because you understand the goal, right? You understand where you guys are going, right? You make some decisions, and somebody will look back and say, "Oh, this thing was made that year, and this is 2 years, 3 years after we are we are making a good out of it, right?" Like you said, first thing is a customer, right? It has to be a customer-centric strategy, because if you do it and you are not constantly doing your user research, taking feedback, even build a feedback loops where you can always go back to whatever decision you want to make, you go back to the loop, you use it you use it to drive your decision, right? Sometimes you have to have data analytics skills, but that's fine. That's why you have a data team anyways. You can always tell them to give us something out of it.
Just tell them what you need.
Yeah, exactly. Tell them what you want. And one of those things is you need to know what your competition like in the market. You have to, your market awareness has to be top notch, right? This is what will help you, grow the product itself. You said it, and what you said, right? Prioritization. This is key. You need to know, you need to find a way to balance what's short-term wins and long-term wins is, right? This is like where prioritization comes in, right? If you look at something and say that, oh, this thing is just going to last for 2 months, right? But if you do it this way, 2 years down the line, you are still making profit from this, right? I mean, this is like what strategic thinking is all about, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. So, guys, this is where I think I got a message from Firefly
Okay.
about the meeting time and stuff. So this is where we get to ask questions. Please, if you have any questions, kindly speak now so that we can address or answer the question or make an attempt on your question, basically. Any question from anyone? Or was it very clear?
I mean, this is like, it's the first one this year, and I mean, it's like one of the very more conversational one that we've done over time.
Yeah.
I'll just give it to you. Thank you. Blessing. But I mean, if you have questions, bring it on here. Or you can always like dive into the community. And I'm sure Patricia must have shared a link for you to join our Slack channel. And you can always like, yeah, and you can always like, I mean, come up with your questions. If something that we think is very elaborate, we'll come to meetings like this to come and discuss it, right? So it's more conversational, and we have like people that are more senior, like Blessing, to like help you with what real life is. And you know, sometimes all these things are already books and stuff like that. Somebody is coming to tell you, like what you mentioned about building a loan app for SMEs. You can already understand that this is coming from experience and not from um, what you read from books and stuff like that. I mean, one of those things for this thing here is for us to be able to like bring in people with wealth of experience to speak from experiences. And I mean, sometimes it doesn't really go with what you have read. It's good to know, right? Because I mean, it will always come in handy when you need them, right? But sometimes you just need to know that it's beyond all of this stuff. So like what she mentioned about like going live and everything went south, right? I mean, what's like the step like transparency, learn to build a resilient team and all those stuff, right? And communication key. I mean, probably somehow do not know how important that is, but I mean, sometimes it could just be like a very small thing because you lack how to explain it or how to like tell people at the right time. It might just be a blow on your face, right? Sometimes it might even lead to termination if you don't know how to do these things, basically. I mean, thank you so much, Lesson, for your time. And I mean, this is very, very enlightening conversation, and we are super grateful. Did somebody say something? Okay, somebody is saying, how do you handle situations where stakeholders or executive push for features that doesn't align with user needs or business goal? Can you influence their decision as a PM? Yeah, I mean, I'll leave that to Blessing.
Okay. So the question is, so an executive, I want to believe that this is probably someone high up there, right? A push for a feature that doesn't align with the user's needs or business goal. So now the thing is, like for example, the company I work for and other companies I used to work for, right? We normally have like a product roadmap, right? Where we have planned for first quarter, this is what we want to deliver on, right? For second quarter, yada yada yada. But the truth is sometimes there might be alterations.
Yeah.
But there is a plan. And for that plan, it is tied to the business goal and the business agenda. Now, your role as a PM is to actually sit this person down, right? Bring out that plan, right? The business goal, what the business wants to achieve, right? And then help the person see the pros and the con. So you don't want to be outrightly dismissive, right, of that person's idea. You can come from an angle of, okay, so we can flesh this out and put it in the backlog, right? And then we can progressively work on it at a later date. But you make the person understand the level of prioritization, right? But there's
stubborn ones.
If, for example, it's coming from the project sponsor in itself, right? There are certain compromises that you might have to make So imagine this person that has approved the roadmap is now coming back to you to say, I think this particular feature, we need to work on it, right? So you, again, I talked about emotional intelligence. You need to apply it a lot, right? So you first of all explain that, okay, this is the priority, this is the business goal, this is the business agenda, but there are some people that have what is called veto power. Do you get? So again, just know, but make sure as a PM you've explained what the priorities are, you've explained what the business goals are, and then if the person with veto power says otherwise, then fine. But ideally, stand your ground as a PM. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you said it all. Sometimes product management is not really about influence. It's about influence and not authority, basically, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's not just blocking the bad ideas. It's like making sure that you are shaping a better ones, right? Sometimes you just want to also know that, know the reason why that person is raising that concern, right? And
Exactly.
because if you do, then you go ahead and help the person understand why some of that things should be prioritized over it. Right? Sometimes you can even bring your sales team to the call, support
Yeah.
team, so that you understand that these are what they are facing every day, every time they go do sales. Right? This is what support is facing every day. If you take that thing away from them, which is probably what you are trying to do next, and somebody is forcing that you do something else, right? If you take it away, maybe support ticket is going to reduce from like 100, 1,000 to like 100, right? Because this is what people are complaining about every other day. And sales is telling you that the reason why I'm not meeting my target is because this thing is there. For every time I try to sell to somebody, they are saying that thing has not been built or that thing has not been built, kind of thing. And you are bringing something because, you are the order or something that you feel like, or it's just from your feelings, stuff like that. This is why you are there, right? And you don't just say no, you just say reasons why you can do it. Sometimes you might even say, oh, we have something else that we think that is not very important that we are building for second quarter, right? I will swap this with it, kind of thing, right? Just help them with it. But if they insist, sometimes you don't have a choice. I don't know. Yes.
Yeah. That's
To
true.
like move on. And sometimes it's also like building it to help the person understand that C is of no value, right? At the end of the day, you go back to them and say, show them data, see what you have asked us to do, see that you're not adding anything to the product, kind of thing, right? And when next that person is coming, you come back and tell them that, oh, this is what we are building, this is the data. And if the person insists, you tell them that this is just like the first one that you brought, and till today, it still doesn't have something. And if the person still insists, you go ahead and build. Because you don't have a choice anyways. But it's just like help you over time. Yeah. Okay, so do we have more questions?
Omo had a hands up at some point. Omo.
Oh, okay. Omo.
Okay. Thank you so much, Quick Blessing. It has been a very insightful section with all this
Yeah.
knowledge. I know it will really impact on us. My question, actually, you answered part of it, but I would just want to say during handling conflicting stakeholders, you made mention that it there's no how you will not meet up with this, you will not have them in your team because if you know how to manage them, it will reduce roadblocks and also improve collaboration. But in a situation where you have a difficult stakeholder in your team, how do you handle such person?
So when you mean difficult, right? Let me understand where you're coming from. So what do you mean by difficult?
A difficult stakeholder, yeah, let's say a customer, it can be a customer or maybe the cross-functional team that where you say this is what is always bringing its own idea that they must follow this. That's why I said a little bit as you talk about roadmap.
Okay.
But if the team supposed to work together, the
Mhm.
person is always against that initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you? This is a personal thing. How do you manage such persons in your
Yeah.
team? Because there's always people like that. Those
Yeah.
she goes in the team, or how do you manage that person
Okay.
so
Yeah.
that it can improve collaboration, productivity, and and so on and so forth? Because we do have them.
Yeah, you're right. So that's why I wanted to understand the perspective that you're coming from, because you said it from a team's angle and also from a customer's angle. So from the customer angle, you need to imagine you have a major customer, right? That is literally the one behind your financial success in a way, right? And then that person is maybe a bit stubborn. You have to find a way to manage it. That's the case of customers are always right kind of situation, right? So you need to find a way to manage that customer, right, and ensure that their needs are met. Now, from the angle of there's a team member that is probably a bit, like you use the word, she goats in the team, right? Now, that person, that person would, as a PM, what I'll do, probably have a one-on-one, right? Try to understand, because first of all, people want to be heard. Sometimes it depends on where the person is coming from. Maybe the person is just pointing that we need to follow the right process and we're not following the right process. So do you want to actually look at it from that person's angle? Or if the person is just being excessive, right, then you want to actually, again, emotional intelligence. And I've been saying this thing a lot, because when you're working with people, you need emotional intelligence a lot, right? You want to find a way to tell the person that, okay, this is best practice, this is what the team is meant to follow, right? We have a laid down structure that we are meant to follow, and everybody is meant to align with it. And if it becomes, it's like the person is not trying to align with that, they're different. That's where escalation comes in, right? You have to take it up a notch, right, to the next line manager. You keep taking it until it gets to HR, and then I'm sure there are like disciplinary actions, right, in line with that, right? But so again, you need to understand the perspective of where the person is coming from, so that you know how to handle the situation.
Thank you so much, madam.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that blessing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we've overused our time. And yeah, we probably won't be taking any more questions. But I mean, if you have something that you want to share, join the community. And also know that, I mean, in the community, we also train product managers, aspiring product managers that want to become senior product manager, and I mean, people that want to also like become, I mean, leaders in the space, right? We have like different cohort for these people. They're just shaking money, trust me. And yeah, I mean, this will be on YouTube. You can always like go back to watch them, drop comments, and please do help us share, basically. Thank you, Blessing, for sharing your invaluable insights and experiences with us today. It's been an enlightening conversation, and we are really grateful for your time and expertise. To everybody listening to us, and you find this, I mean, today's conversation is insightful and inspiring, as I did. I mean, remember, the world of product management is continuously evolving, and you always need to learn from experts like Blessing, and we will bring in more learning sections like this to you guys. So stay tuned and make sure you subscribe to this, and you always like will not miss any of this. If you, like I said, if you have more questions, take it to the channel. We'll take it from there. And as I always say, keep innovating, keep learning, and keep being passionate about the world of product management. Until the next time, take care of yourself. This is me signing off. See you on the next one.
Thank you, Muideen. Thank you, Blessing. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a great week. Bye, everyone.